So I've had a few questions in the time that I've been drumming, especially since I've been doing more and more professional gigs, from people about what kind of instruments they should choose. And the answer, honestly, most of the time is, whatever feels comfortable to you. I can't tell you to play something just because I like to play it. It doesn't always work that way. I had a friend come up to me and talk about a certain cymbal he bought. He's like, "Well, what? I feel like I should have maybe bought something else." And my answer usually is, take it home, play it. Usually, those kind of things you get a little bit of a grace period. 30 days from the purchase day if you buy a cymbal or a drum or something like that. Drumsticks are a little bit different. And so what I'm going to do tonight is just show you a quick little um, demonstration of how I pick and choose what kind of drumstick I like, and maybe that'll be able to help you in how you choose your drumsticks. So I've got a little plethora here of several drumsticks. The first set I'm going to show you is the Vader Stewart Copeland Standard Model. It's a hickory drumstick. It's 16 inches in length. Stewart Copeland, obviously, drummed for the Police. A 16-inch drumstick, about a 5A width, if I'm correct. It's got a barrel tip on it. A little bit of it's a ball tip. It is extended. They call it the barrel tip. Pretty light drumstick, and it's a very thin drumstick. So when I pick up this drumstick, I've played several pair. I've gone through 4 pair of them, and if all I played was jazz, like this would be the perfect stick for me, because in jazz I don't quite hit so hard as I normally do if I'm rocking out on a big open monster jam or something. These sticks are very thin, like I said, and I play pretty hard. Most of the music I play requires pretty tough playing. Most of the rock music that I play doesn't require me, to tickle the heads. I have to play through them. So this stick for me is a bit too small, and for some reason or another, after I would get done playing with these sticks, it would actually hurt my hand a little bit. I noticed it was causing a lot of tension in the fulcrum area, and also on my ring finger where I play traditional. Now Stewart Copeland plays traditional, and he also plays really hard. So honestly, I don't know how he doesn't go through tons of sticks a night, which he may. But these just weren't quite the perfect stick for me. The next stick I'm going to show you is the Tommy Lee Ahead drumstick. Ahead, of course, is an innovative drumstick company. They make sticks and gloves and stick tape and that kind of thing. But their sticks are innovative because they have an aluminum shaft, and then the aluminum on where you'd make the most contact, the aluminum is wrapped in a plastic sheath that you can actually remove and replace. So you don't actually have to buy a new drumstick. You just buy the replacement sheaths for them. The sheaths run fairly cheap. The pair of sticks cost you about $30, but these sticks, I've had these for about 6 years. I quit playing them after, I played on this pair for probably 2 years, but they're still around. Every once in a while I'll pick them up and just jam with them, just mostly for nostalgia and just seeing if I can rekindle the flame for them, but not so much these days. They're a really long stick. The Tommy Lee version is a really long stick, and I used to, like I said, I played them for about 2 years, and I really liked how beefy they were. They're about a 5B width, depending on the make and company that you choose to use. They all have a little bit different sizes, but this is about a 5B width, so it's a pretty solid stick. The handle portion of the stick is pretty long. I mean, I've got a big hand, and I can put my whole hand in it and still have a little bit of wiggle room. They're not so much great for playing traditional, which is one reason I quit playing them. As I've gotten older, I've started playing a little more traditional grip than I used to. I was in marching band when I was younger, but usually on a drum set I didn't tend to play a lot of traditional. But it's got this little metal piece here in the middle of the stick. It's a little metal ring, and it hurts if you catch your finger in it in the right spot. It kind of slits it open, not quite enough to bleed, but it just leaves a little groove in your finger. Also, like I said, they're a really long stick. I would end up, because I play hard and bring the sticks back pretty hard, a lot of times I would end up hitting myself in the forehead or in the face area, which is not so fun, as I'm sure you know. And also, the tip is, as you can see, it's a nylon tip, as all the tips are on the head drumsticks. Obviously, there's no wood on the stick. It's a nylon tip, and you can actually unscrew these and replace the tips on the head too, which, like I said, is a pretty innovative process. However, I'm not such a fan of the nylon tip. For one, most in my experience, the nylon tips break off the sticks easier than a wood tip does. The wood tip might flake, but it doesn't actually just pop the entire head of the stick off. And also, I'm not a huge fan of the way they sound on a cymbal. And my last beef with this stick is if you do a lot of cross sticking and rim knocks and stuff, it doesn't really bode well for that. It doesn't sound very good. So that's my deal on these sticks. The next stick that I have on this list of different drumsticks is the Vader Standard 5B drumstick. It's a hickory stick. Uh, it's a pretty standard go-to stick for a lot of drummers, and it has been for me for many years. I briefly, I guess for about a year or so, I was playing the 3A as my main stick, but uh, I played Vader sticks for about 10 years, and all the time that I played Vader, I preferred the 5B over most of the sticks, except for, like I said, that short period where I had the 3As. Um, the Vaders are the 5B Vader is a 16-inch stick, like I said, 5B width. It's pretty heavy stick, which I used to like. You know, when I would play for just about any setting. I like the beefy feel to the stick. It's pretty heavy. It responds well when you roll. It's got a good bounce to it. Um, it's a pretty perfect size for anything you need it for. Even if you play like super heavy death metal type music, you can flip the back ends, and it's a really thick butt end of the stick to play on, which also in turn makes it into a very easily made destruction tool. Um, I don't I don't know. I don't know that I would prefer to play like that. I never really have preferred. Every once in a while, I'll flip the back end of my left hand to play a little bit of snare stuff if I need an extra little thump, but not usually. These sticks are very durable. The tips have very rarely chip on me. The first pair I had, the tip broke off finally after about 3 months, I would say. I mean, it took a very long time for the tip to actually break off. I play the cymbals pretty hard. The shank of the stick gets pretty chewed up, but it takes a long time to chew it until it's not usable anymore. I've had this pair for about a month, I guess, and it's just now starting to be to where the sticks are uneven because they're getting chewed up differently. Um, it's very good for if you do rim clicks and stuff. I've always liked the 5B for the sound they get out of a rim click if you play the back stick or the regular cross stick. Um, the my only deal with this stick is that it is a little heavy, and the only reason I say that is because of the last stick I'm going to show you, which is my favorite stick. I've already done one video as like a little review of the stick, but this will just be a brief description. This is the ProMark Millennium 2 330 Todd Zuckerman signature model. It is also a 5B width, 16 inches. It's basically a 5B, except that he's shaved some of the weight off the end of the stick just a tad, but it's more of a gradual taper than like the 5B. You can see it kind of just drops off pretty quickly. This is more of a gradual taper. It's got not quite such a thick shoulder on the stick. It's very light stick because it's made out of maple. It's the only maple stick I have in this batch I'm going to show you here. But and normally I used to not like very light sticks like the first stick I showed you. the Stuart Copeland is pretty light. These sticks are actually lighter than the Stuart Copeland. But the fact that they are a 5B width makes it pretty perfect because, and I've never played a stick like this. I've never played a maple stick. I've played oak sticks, hickory, the ahead aluminum sticks. I've never played a maple stick, and I had never until I got these. And I was a little iffy about them at first, but then I've started playing with them. I went through about 12 pairs so far, and these sticks are magical. Like it's a cliche, and Zuckerman even uses it, and he admits that it's a cliche in his description of the stick. But it really does feel like an extension of your hand. It's basically the embodiment of that phrase. These sticks, it feels like when I air drum with them, it's almost like I'm air drumming with my hand. There's very little weight actually added to your hand. Which creates an interesting situation because with almost every other stick, especially those that I've had here, I have had to adjust a little bit the way I play to fit the stick. You know, if I play the really thin sticks, I have to play a little bit harder. If I play the really heavy sticks, I have to not hit quite as hard for fear that I don't bust through my heads or crack my cymbals. These sticks, I can play just about as hard as I want to with them. They're not going to do a whole heck of a lot of damage. I mean, I'm sure obviously if I played hard enough, I'd still split cymbals and things and break a lot of these sticks. But I've got to the point where I don't really break many sticks. I'm not broken a cymbal in quite a while. But the sticks, if you play really hard, they're probably not the stick for you. I said that in the review of these as well. Just because they're pretty light, and the maple is a lot less dense than the hickory, and that's why they're so light. There's a lot more air, I guess, in the actual wood. So I really like these sticks. You should go check them out. Most of your music stores will be able to hook you up with them. So that's the Todd Zuckerman ProMark model. So to recap, the way I pick out a drumstick comes down to a short list of several criteria that I have to have in order to make it work for my drumming style and my liking. Um, you know, want to ask yourself, how long is the stick? Is the stick, you know, too long that you're going to start hitting yourself? I played not only this ahead stick, but several other ones um, that were just too long. You know, crack you in the face, or they just kind of, you get clumsy around the kit. It doesn't fit the way you move your arms and such. You start hitting it on other things other than what you mean to. How heavy is it? Um, you know, like I said, these sticks are pretty light, um, but it doesn't matter necessarily how light they are if it fits in your hand. Like the Todd Zuckerman, like I say, is lighter than the Stuart Copeland, but the Todd Zuckerman fills out my hand like a 5B. This is too light, and therefore kind of it rattles around in my hand a little bit differently, and it's just not a good feel for my hand. What is the stick made of? Is it maple? Is it hickory? Is it oak? I didn't have any oak sticks here. The Neil Peart model, the ProMark, is made out of oak, which it's very heavy stick. You're going to ask yourself, what kind of tip does the stick have? And that is at a point where you want to take the stick and kind of play around on a cymbal, maybe at your drum store or everywhere your general music store, everywhere you buy your sticks. Just kind of see how it bounces, how it sounds on a cymbal. Normally, when I play the bow of a cymbal, I play with the tip. When I play the bell of the cymbal, I hit with the shank because I like a really good loud bell sound, and my ride cymbal is made for those kind of sounds as well. But you're going to want to test it the way you play a cymbal. When you crash on it, how does it feel in your hand? You're also going to ask yourself, you know, what kind of grip do you like? Do you like the really thin grip in your hand that you know, you can get a really good tight grip on it? I play my hands pretty loose. I mean, that way the stick has plenty of wiggle room and has room to move around. I play a French grip this way so that the stick has plenty of room to bounce. But the 5B works very well for me with that. and does the stick hurt your hand, or does it feel just uncomfortable in your hand to play? Like I said, the skinnier sticks tend to hurt my hands a little bit, and these head drumsticks, every once in a while, they're actually made to relieve fatigue. The metal is supposed to, take some of the shock, but every once in a while, it would start to hurt my wrists a little bit because the stick was so heavy. Not necessarily the shock, but and also, like I said, the middle of the stick has this little metal bow, or metal band rather, and that hurts to try to play traditional. So you got to watch for those kind of things. Um, and lastly, how does the stick decay? When you play a stick for so long, it's going to eventually start chipping in the middle. If you do a lot of rim shots like I do, it's going to start, the bow of the stick is going to start basically turning into sawdust. Every time you rub it a little bit of sawdust will come off, and there'll be sawdust on your kit. If you don't want any of that mess, I would suggest going with something like this. The bow gets chewed up, but it doesn't leave much of a mess. And if you play a stick that's really thin, it's going to start to actually bow the whole stick. Like if I played this stick constantly, it would start to warp the stick because I hit so hard. The stick is not meant to take that kind of a beating. So those are kind of the things you want to look out for.